back, ladies and gentlemen. Round 2 in our Zoom Racing League Championship is here. And to kick off the weekend as usual, Division 3 action is coming up in just a few moments. Tonight's showdown happens in Budapest. The Hungary ring, a 40-corner technical track that spans for 2.72 miles, is sure to push our drivers to their limits, as it's earned its nickname of Monaco without walls. Not easy to overtake here, but the double DRS zones, one in the pit straight, another one shorter one after turn 1, should provide the best overtaking opportunities. It's John Ranger here in replacement for Marcel Paps, and I'm here with a combined YouTuber, Combined. Welcome to the broadcast. How are you doing tonight?
Doing okay. That's Hungary's a very tight track, so it's gonna be difficult to overtake here, but hopefully we still get some action despite it.
Yeah, I think we're going to have some good action nonetheless. I think Silverstone was a really good race and a really interesting race. Most definitely really had an interesting kind of outcome in this moment. Right now our drivers are going out on track, and I think one thing we could mention right off the bat is Hungary is very, very dependent on track evolution and making sure that the track is very rubbered in and has a lot of track temperature as we're starting off this short qualifying session. But it's overcast weather, so that means the track is maybe not as hot as a bright sunny day would seems, and that might affect a little bit the tire temps and overall the track times here in Division 3. I'm just going to fix something real quick on my stream if you allow me, Combined, but as I do that, how about you walk us through first the Constructors' Championship and then the Drivers?
So, at the moment, after the first round in Silverstone, which is a thriller, obviously, at the end especially, Red Bull lead the Constructors for 42 after Big Mama Frank's win from pole. And then AlphaTauri up in second place with Leo Cardis in second, Alfa Romeo third, and Aston Martin Alpine tied on 28 points. Haas 2 points behind in sixth, with a double top 10 last week. Schrei, though, bottled the race last week, so it could have been more for Haas. Mercedes in P7, then Ferrari down in P8, and Williams and McLaren are rounding up there. And then, obviously, the driver standings are the same as a result last week. So, Big Mama Frank, Leo Cardis, and Labib top 3. Aaron Green, Christian Cummins, decent showing from them last week. Aaron Green is not here this week, though, for Aston Martin, so... And neither is the other Aston Martin of Hokage. Leo Hudson 6th. Schrei and Josh Barnsley, a.k.a... what's his name? Sorry. Kiesler is P8. Yep. Florida. And Logan P10 after getting penalties last week for a lot of incidents. And then we have Cushy in 11th, Cole Cummins, Hokage, James, and Aero, and then the rest have DNF'd or not started. So it's definitely a good start of the season for Red Bull, or just Honda power teams in general, Red Bull and AlphaTauri.
Yeah, most definitely. If we're seeing Big Mama and Locritus 1 and 2, I think it was rather a surprise, a pleasant surprise. We love feel-good stories, seeing Labib having his first podium here. Put up a poll earlier, and we got about 9 votes. It's almost 50-50, a little bit leaning towards the no. I had asked if people thought Labib would get another podium this race, and as he's out on his, believe he bottled his fast lap, so he's not put a time in so far. Another disappointing race was Zooks here, Joe Goron, in the Mercedes, currently having a banker lap of 1:16.1. He had DNF'd and didn't really have a good race. It seemed like he got caught in a couple of situations, and I don't know if it was out of frustration or something else, but he parked the car and retired, and that was it for him. So hopefully he stays away from situations in the Hungary ring, although a lot shorter track than Silverstone, a lot more narrow track, so you're gonna have to be really careful driving besides other drivers, and that'll be something that'll put the Division 3 drivers' racecraft to the test here. You'd have to be real careful about going side by side in some of these corners that could be that could give some rather disastrous results if there's contact here. Track limits also will be something to keep an eye on, most definitely here. I don't know if there was. Oh yeah, there is already a qualifying ban. By the way, if you're looking at the standings on your left-hand side of the screen, you're going to see Logan PSQ in the Ferrari. Second
Okay.
driver of the Ferrari, he's got a qualifying ban after a single race. I believe he got 4 penalty points
I'm
the
not
last
surprised
race,
about that.
and so that is a qualifying ban for him already. And you know that was a driver who got a season ban near the end of last season. So speaking about racecraft, he's probably a driver that other drivers are going to be on the lookout for. Unfortunately,
gosh.
not getting the best of reputations out on the track so far, but I am sure that is a driver who wants to restore said reputation as is. Combined, we're going to go find ourselves maybe a driver going up on a fast lap, and if you want to walk us through maybe a lap around the Hungary ring, let me just go check. I'm seeing an Alpine. Is that... which one would that be? Is that... Chunk is on a fast lap, so here he goes. We're going to go on board with Chunk here, currently P9 on his banker lap. Take it away, Combined.
Alright, so another DRS zone already. So second DRS zone into turn 2. And they're coming up to turn 3. Wait, that is turn 2. Third gear there, so it's definitely the right gear there. So Chonk is doing his first race this week. He missed the first round of the season, so here we go. Turn 4, a fast corner. Down to 6th gear, so missed the apex a little bit there at the long right hand of turn 5, and then into the tight chicane now. Taking in 4th gear, this is the slowest section, and now we go into the twisty section of the circuit. Very technical, obviously passing here is near impossible, so he's missed the apex again at turn 11. As now we head into turn 12, another right-hander, 4th gear again, and then into the last 2 corners. 3rd gear, and a little bit just missing a lot of apexes, Chonk. It's not been a solid lap, but let's see what he does as he crosses the line. It's a 17-1, so 7th place, not ideal. 8th place now. Yeah, I think there could be some more time in that lap from Chonk.
Most definitely, as you mentioned, a lot of apexes missed out. I think looking at the state of the battery, I think he had already gone maybe a full lap out, and so maybe his tires were just not responding much. Maybe a little bit of overheating, depending on the tire pressures in regards to the temperature. However, his teammate in the other Alpine, Jack Fletcher, longtime driver known in ZRL, used to be in Division 1, if I remember correctly. Had a couple tussles with him. Great driver out there. He's a driver to watch out for. I think Jack Fletcher's a guy who could, you know, once he gets the time, put the practice time into this race, it could really up his pace. Same thing with Joe Goron, by the way. And those 2 drivers currently are sitting P1, P2 provisionally in this qualifying. There's a little bit under 10 minutes to go, and so Joe Goron in the Mercedes 115.6 and a 159 for Jack Fletcher. Today marks the return of a Mercedes on pole in Hungaroring as Lewis Hamilton by 0.003 of a second claim pole in front of Max Verstappen. And tonight, so far, we're seeing yet another Mercedes on pole. Will that change? Jack Fletcher, we're in Hungaroring, not in Tokyo Drift, but you know he went at it in the pit lanes, and luckily it was more of a cold brown situation for him. It looks like his wing is intact as well. Let's look at it for the other cars.
Yeah, that was great.
Currently. Yeah, go ahead.
That was a great qualifying session, the real life one.
Yeah.
It was absolutely so exciting. It's the second year in a row as well that we have a shock Mercedes pole. We had George Russell getting it last year.
You're right.
And Lewis getting it this year.
Yeah, unfortunately for Russell, what was it, P18?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he had some kind of...
We got caught out in traffic and never really was able to put up a proper lap, and got caught out by track evolution and that situation. And yeah, a little bit unfortunate for him. The parallel is also could also be made with Alfa Romeo, who essentially did about next to nothing this entire season, and surprisingly had Guanyu Zhou in P5 in qualifying. Absolutely surprising. And Labib, in our division right now, is currently P6, and so he's putting himself in a decent position right now. The best that Red Bull could do, Joseph Ferreira, Big Mama Frank, and P5 currently. Really interesting. Look at this. the top 8 is all different drivers, all different constructors.
Oh,
Mercedes,
nice.
Alpine, Haas, Ferrari, Red Bull, Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin, and AlphaTauri. So it just comes to show and prove that, I mean, the way the draft was created and played out through for at least for Division 3, so far it looks like it was a pretty equal draft and a close one, and you could have switched around these drivers and they would have been able to do pretty well.
Yeah, it's almost like it's realistic with the, like you said, with the Alfa Romeo up there and the Mercedes on pole right now, and although Haas being P3 is not so, but yeah, it's unbelievable the Alfa Romeo beat the Ferrari. Like, that's pretty embarrassing. Like, they beat
Yeah.
Leclerc.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I'm not sure it's gonna be
Or
good
should
for
be good,
the tire wear next for tomorrow's race either.
Or Zhou beat Leclerc anyway, not Bottas.
Hmm. Yeah.
Let's see Big Mama Frank now. The pole sitter and the winner from last week in Silverstone.
He's on a fast lap currently. We're just gonna go on board with him. Oh, complete jumps the chicane. All right.
Validated.
Yeah, combined, we're gonna learn something called Broadcaster's Curse, and as you just say his name, he jumps the curve and
I'm so sorry.
invalidated, and so you've cursed Big Mama Frank. It is your
I'm
first,
so
I believe,
sorry.
your first curse. As I get on the stream with him, we get used to it eventually. It
Yeah.
it hurts us mentally, but it's also a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, Big Mama Frank, if you're watching back. Oh my god.
Sector
Anyway,
yellow
Nathan-
flag and turn 1. Okay, looks like the two drivers were kind of testing a little bit. I don't know if there was a slow driver. It looks like it was a Red Bull of Let me find the other Red Bull. Oh, where is the other? Oh, there it is. Christian Cummins.
Nathan Doan asked for an interview.
Oh, let's bring him in. Absolutely.
Yeah, why not? He's got one driver here today, Ben. P10 at the moment.
So we're gonna have to figure out where the other
The-
driver
the-
is. He is in
the
the waiting room, so
McLaren-
let me bring him in.
The McLaren team principal, of course.
Yep. Nathan Doan, team principal, Division 1 broadcasting partner, Division 2 racing rival. He's everywhere. And he's back on stream with us tonight. Nathan, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing amazing. I'm happy to be back in the booth before it's even my time.
You only have one driver tonight, as Combined just mentioned. Where's your second driver? Who is, I forget his name.
Yeah, so James, I think he might be breakdancing. Not too sure. But either way,
Hell?
he's not here with us, so Ben
Alright.
is gonna have to compensate for both of them today. Never mind, I won't get into that because it might be incriminating my driver, but, yeah. Yeah, so, breakdancing a bit more important than a league race at this stage, but, with Ben here, I think that we could still get some good points here tonight.
Yeah, solid so far. P10, so definitely solid performance so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, still a bit of time to gain. I think if he gained like 3/10, then we'd be in a lot better position, and I think it might be possible.
Oh, yeah.
The track right now looks pretty cold, or at least with the overcast weather, I'd assume it is. So maybe there's more time if the sun were to come out, but yeah.
Well, speaking of weather, Nathan, have you had any insights? I don't know if you're engineering with your team, but how's the weather going to be looking for the race?
I haven't got any information yet, but I always have trusty Labib to get it for me.
Of course. I don't know if he's able to let us know eventually. Let us know. Just give us a little DM if you do get it after the interview. Nathan, real quick, what are your expectations for your driver Ben for this race?
Well,
at
I mean,
least?
we've seen him like be in really good points contention, like top 5 fighting every race. At least that's what I remember. He's a very good, clean racecraft driver, so I think we could expect top 6, top 5 from him. If it doesn't happen in quali, then it will happen in the race. But other than that, not just my driver, but all these drivers, Ranger, I gotta ask you, who's your toonie on today?
It's a difficult one, but and maybe a little bit biased, but given the way his race ended last race, I'm gonna put my toonie on Shry, the Haas driver. I think he wasn't satisfied with the unfortunate ending he had last race in Silverstone, coming out of Magus and Begets, and into the Hungary straight, losing it in the corner on the last lap. And he was essentially going in there for the win. He's going to have to work really hard again for this race, but I think he's put his head down the entire week and practiced a lot. My tune is going to go on him for this one. But it could go anywhere on the top 5 drivers. I wouldn't put Jack Fletcher out of contention. I think his racecraft is a lot stronger than his qualifying pace to begin with, and he's a really good driver.
Absolutely agree. So before I go, Labib did inform me it will be dry for the race. So
absolutely dry. All right, thank you very much, Nathan. If there is any other opportunities for us to speak to you during the race, if there's a safety car or a situation that happens in the McLarens, we will poke at you and bring you back in the booth. And lately, just on the poll, things changed around a little bit. We're now voting yes for another Labib podium. Speaking of which, the Alfa Romeo driver, P2 at a 1:15.7, little under 3/10 behind Joe Goron. There's 2 minutes to go in this short qualifying session. Nathan, thank you for being with us. We're going to say goodbye to you. And he has left. All right, perfect. And I'm just making sure if he was still here or not. So, yeah, look at this. It is Joe Goron, Labib, and NVA is the top 3. There's a little under 2 minutes to go. All drivers, or almost all of them, are out on track. So we're going to have a little bit of traffic, a little bit of a traffic jam. We've seen that today as well in the real-life qualifying. That is going to be an interesting one. We haven't had the chance to ask you the question, Combined. And you're going to learn a little something about this French-Canadian here. A toonie is a $2. I got you a toonie. Who are you betting that $2 on for the race win tonight?
Maybe either Joel Gueron or... Oh, never mind. He's got a... Oh, for God's sake, I did it again.
What? Combined! Why are you doing this?
Oh my God.
Joe Goron just got a 5-place grid penalty for impeding a driver.
Maybe I should just quit. Honestly.
Wow, you're 2 for 2. 2 for 2 combined. This is legendary. I cannot wait to clip this and show all of ZRL this.
No, seriously though. He's definitely a contender. He's on pole by 3/10.
Yeah.
Labib will be up there though, and MVA. They're pretty quick drivers as well, and obviously Jack Fletcher, as he said, a pretty solid driver.
Yeah.
Big Mama Frank won the last race, so don't count him out either.
Yeah. Big Mama Frank
So
currently sitting P7.
There's definitely a lot of contenders for this win.
10 seconds to go in qualifying, so there's no more time for anybody else to go into to get fastest laps. Everybody has begun their fast lap. I'm just going to go find who is the driver. Well, somebody's off in turn 12. And I believe we've got an Alpine about to get across the line. That was Jack Fletcher who lost it, so he won't be improving. And I believe the other Alpine of Chonk is in the pits. And I'm looking for that other driver. I'm seeing times going a little bit quicker. It's NVA that just went P2. I believe Williams Vadeo just hit P9. Labib is still P3. Schrei doesn't improve at his P4. Jack Fletcher P5. Cole Cummins P6 has improved a little bit. Who's the next driver to go across? I believe it is... is it Labib? It is Labib, and he's going to stick to P3. So is anybody going to be able to go faster than Joe Goron here in the Mercedes? I don't think so. The next driver across the line is Aero Legendre, who increases slightly to P14. And one of the latest drivers, I think, would have the McLaren of Ben is across the line. Let's see where he ends up. Ben increases to P8, a good positioning for him. Leo Hudson is next across the line, who just passes Ben. So Ben drops to P9, Leo Hudson at P8. And that is already, that kind of flew by, the end of the short qualifying session. We have...
yeah, about Ben. Solid performance from him there, P9.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And he's not missing a lot. Give him a 10th or 2 at the max, and he's possibly looking at a top 6. And so he gave it what he had there, so I'm sure Nathan's quite happy with this one. And so it is Joe Goron, despite having a 5-place grid penalty, he's not going to start on pole. And so officially it will be the Ferrari of NVA, P1, who's going to be starting on pole, and Labib on the front row as well. And so the chances of Labib getting another podium are increasing, and so does the votes. going alongside of that. Thanks to you, no thanks to you combined for Zooks and Misfortune here. It's going to be It Shrine to top 3 with Haas, Jack Fletcher P5, and I think that is where we're going to see Joe Goron afterwards in P5 actually. Lucritus P6, Cole Cummins, Lou Hudson, Ben, Rigraff, Joseph Ferreira, Mac, Adeo, both Williams are together. Alfa Romeo of Aero, Chonk, Kushi, and Logan is, without having set a time, will be starting in the back of the pack. We've got a couple drivers missing out over here, actually. We're missing a McLaren, we're missing a Haas, and we're also missing, I believe, an Aston Martin. So 3 drivers missing.
Yeah, we've got one Aston Martin, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
We're restarting the lobby because of Joe Guron's penalty was unwarranted, apparently. It was not fair.
Interesting. Very interesting.
I don't see why you just can't deal with it, but there you go.
Yeah. Well, you know, I would have loved that to happen to me when I got the 5 great place penalty, because that happened to me last season. And nothing was said for that, but we are restarting the lobby, and so it is what we are.
Whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, it's happening, but I'm for it. I'm for it if a penalty is given, and it's a harsh penalty. If you're just slotting behind a driver, the game does kind of react sometimes. And so that being said, we are going to go on a short intermission break, get the lobby set up again, and we'll be back with you for the beginning of the Hungary Grand Prix here on F123 in the ZRL. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. We are back after a lobby reset. All drivers are back onto their proper grid slots. Everything has been set. We will not be having formation lap in order to save us a little bit of time.
Yep. So, let's see. This race is going to be interesting. So, we have Joe Guron reinstated his position. A bit controversial, but it is what it is. Because it's not being consistent with that sort of thing. But yeah, he's on pole position. Labib will be third. So yeah, MVA second, Labib third. So it's a competitive top three. Jack Fletcher down there in P5. So
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a drag race. And if we get a good start, you know, I think in F123, the drag reduction feels, or the slipstreaming is, you know, a lot more powerful than we're seeing in these cars. And so maybe if a driver behind P1 and P2 gets a really good start and is able to slot behind a driver, might have a better time to get to turn one. And that might, you know, cause a change in the race lead. And obviously we're about to get underway. The red lights are on. 5 lights. And out they go. The Hungary Grand Prix is underway. Joe Goran looks like he's having a good start here. We're going to look at this right here. He goes on over on the inside to cover his line. NVA is going out, and he's got a way better braking line. NVA is on the softs, and he's on a little bit too far on the outside. Out brakes himself. It is Shry into Haas, who's going wheel to wheel against Joe Goran. Shry is keeping it on the inside. Joe Goran is right on his right-hand side, and he's going to take the lead of this Grand Prix so far to begin with. There's a sector yellow flag in the back. It's Big Mama Frank Joseph Huerta, who is in the back, who's had an incident and a spin. A couple of the drivers, actually not a good race beginning for the Red Bull drivers. It is still a Haas leading the race. Schreier to go around to NVA, and Leo Kreitis, look at this, jumping up 2 positions. Unfortunately for Labib and the Alfa Romeo, losing 3 positions, and we're looking at possible race strategies here. There's another spin in the back. It is the Williams of Adeo. So, as you mentioned earlier, this is a technical track. We're just going to see a lot of yellow flags and spins and potentially safety cars combined. And right now, relatively speaking, we've got a clean race despite isolated incidents on this first lap.
yeah, that was a great start from Shry though. Flying start. He's in the lead from 4th place. Joe Guron had a decent start compared to MVA though. And yeah, we saw Big Mama Frank spinning out at the back there, so unfortunate start for him, as well as the Williams of Adeo. As now, Shire leads after the first lap. Joel Good second, MVA third. Leo Kreitis in 4th, a good start from him as well. Jack Fletcher keeps 5th, Labib down to 6th from 3rd. And Kamari Mack in 7th, Leo Hudson, Rigraff and Cole Cummins clean that top 10.
Yeah, it's a good race, and we're looking at right now is all the different tires being used. There's 2 drivers so far on the soft tires, NVA and Mack, and P7 Williams. The rest is a mix of mediums and hards so far, and so it's a big discussion leading up to this Grand Prix on what kind of strategies we could be expecting leading into this race. Are we going into 2 stoppers between mediums and hards like we're used to see in F122, or will the softs become a part of the game here, and maybe even be part of a 2-stopper strategy? We've seen different kind of leagues and different people looking at possibly going soft, medium, soft, or soft, medium, medium, depending on how the race goes. And obviously, safety car is going to be have a huge impact in regards to strategy. As another safety yellow flag, in the back, and that is Kirschi this time dropping down to P16, probably down to P17 in just a moment, and having a spin out of turn 11. And so combined, what would be your strategy to go to begin this race, as we're seeing the top of the grid mainly being on mediums as Mack overtakes Labib for P6, and so that is a downward spiral so far with Labib. The hard tires are not very performant for him so far. What are you thinking about this strategy call combined?
Probably the mediums are a better starting tire. Softs are overheating here, so probably not best to go for them. Like, this is a track where overheating happens a lot, so mediums or hards are better to start on, but at this stage it seems like mediums are the better tyre. Because obviously, as you said, Labib dropped to 7th, starting on the hards, after starting 3rd, so yeah, it's interesting, but I think we'll see a mix of strategies overall.
I mean, for Labib, it could be a situation where he's aware that he might be losing some positions, where it's a strategic call, where he knows his tire will underperform compared to the mediums and softs. However, maybe towards the end of the race, if he could go long on those hard tires and finish the race on softs or mediums, but having overcut a lot of drivers, it would give him a proper race finish and maybe take advantage from that. And so, a lot of different strategies, and I don't think it's as clear as it used to be in F122, where it was always either medium to hards or hards to mediums, and just trying to make the tires last as long as possible. Now we're thinking at a potential two-stopper strategy, again, depending on how the race goes. And so it'll be interesting to see where these guys go. The soft drivers, definitely NVA and Mac, we'll have to keep an eye on them, seeing where they're going to slot. And look at NVA, was a little bit further behind from Joe Garon and Shry, and so far I think his soft tires are coming alive here, and he's gained a little bit of pace in regards to the Mercedes. It's still the Haas driver of Shry, leading a little bit under 4/10 ahead of Joe Garon, NVA right behind in P3. There's a little bit of a battle in the back for Jack Fletcher, and Lukritis was trying to keep up with him, but that's not really happening right now. Jack Fletcher making his car work so far, and he's going to try to catch up to NVA, which I believe in a couple laps we'll be able to do, because I believe the softs kind of drop off pretty rapidly here in Hungary, as you mentioned, due to higher tire temperatures. Again, tire pressures are really important in regards to the setups. Speaking of setups combined, here's my question for you. There's a couple battles going on in the midfield. We'll keep an eye on those as Combined talks us about car setups. Are we going with very high... well, obviously it's high downforce, but what could be the potential impact of trying to go with lower rear wings to get the overtaking done on the main straight, as we're seeing it happening and right now? Leo Hudson just got by Rigraff into turn 1. Behind, I believe, we're just going to keep an eye on that. Yeah, he just got by Rigraff into turn 1, and Mac and Labib were having it as well. And so what's your opinion on the car setups combined?
Well, low wings here is not really recommended because of there's only like one real straight, which is the pit straight, so you definitely need high downforce here. But if you want to like overtake easily, you can maybe put the wings down a bit, but not crazily. So as for tire pressures, obviously they'll be on the low side because of the softs and the mediums.
I mean, without, because I know we have a Division 2 race coming up, without having to expose our setups, and we're definitely not talking about 50-50 front and rear wings. Obviously it should be around 50 front wing, or maybe 48 to 50. We'll go over that gap normally, and but in the rear wing it could be anywhere between, I would suggest, anywhere between 40 and 45. There's a McLarener that's around. Oh, Nathan Doe's going to be a little bit disappointed with that. It's Ben. He's facing the wrong way. Careful, the game might penalize you for no reason. And I'm even talking about you on the broadcast, and I don't have the same powers as you combined. And that's not working. And so Ben is P15 after having a spin on the hard tires. And so, right, we're into lap 6, and so far, other than Labib, and although he started in P3, he's lost 4 positions. Most of the hard tire runners currently doesn't look like they're having a good time. They've lost a lot of positions. The most profitable hard tire runner currently is Logan PSQ in P11. He's gained 6 positions. Otherwise, we're looking at drivers looking lower on the grid on their hard tires currently.
But yeah, I'm not trying to reveal our setups as D2 drivers, but the high downforce is definitely recommended. Anything with that in this track. Yeah, Logan with a good start. 11th place from that quality ban he had for causing a bit too many incidents in the first round.
We're on the board here real quick. On the DRS, it's Jack Fletcher going to turn 1. He's going to get by NVA on the medium tires. Into turn 1 he goes. He's got it clean on the inside and overtakes, and he's put himself in a podium position. And there's also a Mac in the back who's overtaken, and there's a situation in the back. What happened there? I think you got a glimpse of it. Little Kreider seems like he's been spun around. I don't know if there was contact, or I see there was Mac making a move on him. What happened there combined?
Yeah, he just got spun. I think Leocritus got spun maybe by Mac, or Leocritus missed the corner and hit him, but I don't know what happened. I just caught the end of it, just the end of it.
Yeah, unfortunately for Leocritus, he had a good race beginning of the race, and in lap 7 now he spun, and look at how tightly the pack is. Other than our top 4, you spin and have a moment, you're going to lose a lot of positions. And Leocritus, unfortunately, happened to him, as has happened to other drivers so far. And currently still, it's the Haas of Schrei. He's above the second ahead of Joe Goron, so he's showing pace there. But so far, Mike Tooney is bringing dividends. He's 1.4 seconds ahead of his Mercedes rival. That means out of the DRS, and so is Joe Goron out of the DRS of his other rival and behind him in the Alpine, Jack Fletcher. Same thing with NVA as well. So the top 4 has really broken apart from the pack. However, they don't have DRS on each other to really be fighting or driving against each other so far, and Jack Fletcher's completely wasted his ERS. He's went down as low as 1% on the main straight. He's trying so hard to get into that DRS time from Joe Goron in front of him. There's another move in the back. I believe I'm hearing a reactor. It is Leo Hudson losing 2 positions to the Aston Martin and the Red Bull. Ray Graff and Cole Cummins gain a position on that move, and I don't know if Leo Hudson had a moment in that situation, but he's lost 2 positions in that kind of situation. And turn 1 seems to be the one corner to be going for overtaking. Logan Pascu is the first driver to get a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. And we're going to see a lot more of those. That is for sure combined.
Yeah, Leo Hudson just had an oversteer out of... he just lost a bit out of turn 1. And that's why he lost 2 places to Rigraff and Cole Cummins. So there's a lot of drivers making mistakes today. A lot of spins, a lot of losing the rear and stuff like that. So it's definitely a tricky track right now. Labib within DRS of Kamari Mack now. So Labib... his hards are coming alive now, so he's catching the soft runner, Kamari Mack, in the Williams.
Is he going to be on the ERS? Yes, he will, and he's definitely got the strength to do the overtake, and Kamari Mack will not have a lot of tools to defend on that kind of situation, and it is Labib claiming in a position for P5, as is battled for P10 here, side by side. It was Arrow versus Logan. It looks like Arrow's going to come out on top of turn 1 here in front of Logan, and so 2 gate positions gained for the Alfa Romeo drivers, P5 and P10, and so that allows them to gain a couple points for their team so far. And yeah, so the 2 drivers were also on the hard tires, so on the same strategy. Gotta keep an eye on them. Definitely the soft runners might be thinking about pitting soon. That's kind of the risk you take here, going long on soft tires. With in the Hungaroring, it's such a track that requires high downforce that you eat up those tires real quick, and eventually you just hurt yourself a lot more going very long on those soft tires. So we'll keep an eye on Mac and NVA, see what kind of play they're going to go for, and if they're going to pit anywhere soon. And there's another time penalty, this time to Leo Kreitis in P12, who was chasing after the Ferrari of Logan, but so far that 30-second time penalty hurts him quite significantly in the back of the pack so far. Might be another driver. Yeah, Mac is going to come back. Sorry about that. Mac is going to come back to attack Labib this time in turn 1. Goes on the outside in this situation. Labib doing a great job at defending. Mac has got to keep a little bit off track there to avoid a situation. And Labib successfully defends on Mac and the Williams. Great driving for both drivers, keeping it clean as well. And then definitely just squeezed him onto the curb a little bit, but that's how you go. And Joe Goron back in DRS of the Haas of Schrei. So mediums versus, well, yeah, both medium runners. So Joe Goron's just been better on his tires, it seems. But here you go, he's back in DRS. So the battle for lead is back on. That's really interesting, and we just saw the Haas go a little bit off track, not exactly on the apex, and so I don't think Shirai maybe cooked his rear tires a little bit and struggling just a tad bit. He's got to get his mind back into the game there. But this time, Joe Goran might be in an attacking position. Shirai does have the battery advantage to protect himself from the offense of Joe Goran. We'll see how it pans out here, but so far it's just about half a second, sorry, behind him. I think he'll be catching up right on his rear wing. I don't think he'll have the pace to do the overtake. He's not on the ERS. There's another flag in the back. That is Kushi, and he's back on the track and racing again. So no potential safety cars there. And so we'll keep an eye on that. If Joe Goran can keep his distance, his gap shrinking towards Shirai, we might have a change in the race league again by the end of the next lap, or the beginning of next lap, I should say, going to turn 1. And unfortunately for the other podium runner, Jack Fletcher, he's missing out on that. So maybe if there's a situation up front with Shirai and Goran, he'll be able to catch up to them, but he's 2.2 seconds away from them, and NVA is also starting to fall back towards the pack behind. And look at that pack in the back. We're going to see Labib. Look at this. Labib, Mac, Rigraff, Colt Cummins. A little bit group there. Leo Hudson not so far away. There's like a 4-car battle happening there. They're really packed up, and all different tire runners are almost. And so the battle of strategies is going to be happening here. Some drivers might want to be pushing a little bit harder in order to make their tires work. You don't want to be stuck behind a soft runner, for example, for too long, and that's something that could be happening very soon. But out of turn 14 we go. Joe Goran is a little bit behind, further behind than he was last lap in regards to Shirai. So I don't think, once again, he's not very aggressive on his ERS, and neither is Shirai, by the way. And so both drivers are just letting each other being towed, I guess, to break even further away from the pack up front. And in the back, I believe it's a bit of a dive bomb, I'd say, by NVA. No, it's Labib versus Max. Sorry about that. That's the wrong blue car. I should. Yeah, the wrong red car, actually. Yeah. I'm so used to seeing NVA in the Red Bull, so I'm seeing NVA automatically look at the blue car, but yeah, he's in the Ferrari now, not the Red Bull as he was last season. And so Mac overtook Labib for P5, and so it's a bit of a battle for that group of drivers there, and really showing good quality racecraft, by the way, as well.
Yeah, 2 drivers just lost it out of turn 1 there, and they lost the position. Yeah, so Labib lost it out of turn 1, lost to Kamari Mack, and Rigraff lost it out of turn 1 and lost to Cole Cummins. So the drivers are still struggling for grip around here. Yeah.
Which you don't really expect.
Yeah, you don't expect it. Definitely a close midfield, though. This battle for P5 is a massive train from, well, 5th to 9th. So 5 cars. As Adeo at the back gets a penalty.
Go on board here with Cole Cummins because Mac is going to try to... Sorry, Labibo's going to try to go on Mac, and Cole Cummins has a bit of a thought on the outside, but decides to play the safe game and respects Labib and goes slots behind the 2 drivers. But if he really wanted to go aggressive on the outside angle, he could have maybe come up right behind Mac and in front of Labib. There was a switch of positions behind. I believe it was Lucretius who overtook Arrow for P11, and so there's a bit of a battle happening there, but there's also a mid-pack battle anywhere between, like you said earlier, P5 and down to, what is that, P8? Leo Hudson, look at that, Leo Hudson's there too. We're seeing a little bit of a lag. What is happening there? Looks like Mac kind of like glitched behind a little bit, so a bit of desync situation happening there. So Labib finds himself pulling away a little bit from the pack, and now Mac is under attack by Cole Cummins. So back on board, we're going to go with him, because before we know it, they're going to be on the main straight trying to overtake each other. And by the way, up front, Shirai has pulled away once again, so I think he did just have a moment, but he managed to pull away further than a second from Joe Goran, and hence away from the DRS. And so far, the change of the lead up front is not going to happen right away. However, Cole Cummins, he's going to have a situation here. He's going to be able to go on the offensive towards Mac, and he's going to go there for P6 and makes it happen. Clean move. And Leo Hudson is the first driver to go into the pits.
So,
did he have a situation?
Kamari Mack.
Go ahead.
Kamari Mack is really struggling. He's really struggling right now. Those soft tires are dead. And also, I think he just had a screen freeze or a stutter or something in that lag. But yeah, those softs are dead now. He was sliding in the second last corner, and that's why he got passed by Cole.
Yeah, in turn 14, we could see his rear just not responding. And look at that, he's kind of struggling. And Rigraff is all over his gearbox. And yeah, 13 laps on softs. And I'm curious to see how NVA is faring out, because he's a little bit in front. And he's, let's see, 1.6 seconds away from Labib. And Labib's on his hard tires. And so we might have to see, we might spot a little bit of a time difference from these two drivers. But Mac is gonna have to consider pitting, and that's what I was saying earlier. If you go really long, I've already seen Leo Hudson, who was on the mediums. He's the first driver to pit. Doesn't look like he had any damage, and so he's gonna go long on the hard tires for him. No, who's next pitting? Cole Cummins is next to pit. Look at this. The Red Bull is pitting, so Mac is not pitting. Looks like he's gonna lose a position to Rigraff behind him. Although he does have DRS to defend. I don't know if Rigraff is going to go for a move. We're going to look into this one. Rigraff for P5. It's not going to make it happen. There's a couple drivers inside as well. NVA has pit as well. NVA has gone for mediums. So now the idea here, I guess, for him would go long for 20 laps on those mediums. Is that really worth it at this point? Unless he's trying to go softs again by the end of the race. We'll have to see that. You know, so far, I was definitely expecting a safety car at this point, 50 laps into this race, but it hasn't happened yet. But with all the pit strategies, I'm definitely questioning the soft tire running here and how Rigraff has not gotten past them yet.
That's interesting though. MVA did pit for those softs as I would expect, but then Kamari Mac didn't.
And if Mac does, he should be going for the hards. I would think NVA was going for the hards if he was really wanting to go for a one-stopper. Instead, he's going for the mediums, and so maybe he leaves his door open for a potential safety car and him going back in for another pair of softs. And it looks like Mac is going into the pits this time. We'll see what kind of tires he's going to go there. Look at that, he's struggling going just into the pits. Labib also in front. Now, also, look at this. He's pitting at the same time as Labib on the hard tires. And so this whole strategy is completely... I'm completely bamboozled at this point. I don't know what to tell you, Combine. I don't know what's going on.
What? Oh, he's on mediums. Oh, no.
So Labib's on mediums. Mac is on mediums. That's an interesting call. And we got the top 7 who has not pitted either. Ben and Adeo in the back have not pitted. And so Arrow with a 3-second time penalty. And look at this, side by side, Mac and Cole Cummins. And Cole Cummins, the undercut works for him. Hards versus mediums, although Cole went a little bit deep into that corner. And Mac is going to... Oh, it might be a situation here. We're going to go on board here with Mac next to Cole Cummins, who's going to... There's a bit of a contact at the rear.
That was great racing. That was great racing.
The boys respected each other, and that was important there because that could have been quite a situation going to that corner. End result, Cole Cummins is P11 in front of Mac, but definitely a lot of drivers still having to do their pit strategy. Shry, the leader of the race so far, is going to the pits and potentially trying to cover the undercut from Joe Goron. And let's see how long the drivers behind him will be trying to go. And Shry is going for the hards, and so he's going for medium hard strategy in this situation. So definitely going long on those hards. Gonna make them work until the end of the race. Comes out of the pits. Let's see. Yeah, he's got clear track too. Look at this. Clear track for him in front of Joseph Herrera, Big Mama Frank, and P5. And the drivers, all 3 drivers in front of him, have to pit. And so we'll see if that undercut works out for him. Really interesting call, and I'm wondering if maybe there's a lesson that could have been taken from Silverstone, right? Because Silverstone was really important, was getting the fresher tires at the end of the race to be able to gain as many positions. The drop off when the tires start dying, the drop off is so sudden, and so at some point it was NVA's all over the rear of Joseph Herrera. Herrera can barely hang on. His tires are pretty quick as well. So we'll see how that plays out at the end of the race. But so far, we're going to have Joe Goron into the pits. He's going for the hards as well. So the medium to hard strategy, same as Shry, is going to go. So we'll go on board with the Shry, see where he comes out. Will he be in front of Joe Goron or not? Look at him. He's going to come out side by side. He's just past Joe Goron. And so the undercut kind of works really well this time. Rigraff is still in front of him. And he's going to be coming right on the back of Rigraff. By the end of the lap, one of two things will happen. Either the Aston Martin will have slowed him down enough that Joe Goron can catch up to him, or he'll make an overtake work and run away with it even more, as he's all over the rear of Rigraff. Rigraff, the ERS light is flashing at this point. He's got no battery left. Shry on the fresh hards here, but he's got to be careful about this, and he's going to go for the chicane. Oh no, he's going to play it safe. He decides to play it safe.
That's good.
Yeah,
It's making Joel catch up. It's making Joel catch up.
It definitely is so far. Joe Goron's still 2.4 seconds behind, so I think Shry is going to take advantage maybe of the DRS to make the overtake work. He's
waiting for the DRS.
Yeah, he's definitely waiting for the DRS at this time. Now, here's the thing. Getting the DRS out of turn 14, as this is going to happen with Shry, no matter what happens, he automatically gets DRS also for the second zone out of turn 1. And so he's guaranteed a double DRS zone. I mean, Rigraff, he's got low battery. He doesn't have DRS. There's nothing he can do. He's got to pit anyways. He's going to let him by. And Joe Goron is about 1.2 seconds behind, who might have, by next lap, the same kind of advantage Shry had on the Aston Martin. But at the end, will that allow Shry to completely run away with it? Well, look at Joe Goron. He's really caught up to the pack. And so we might have a situation with that happening. And in the back, by the way, I think Big Mama Frank got real close to Labib there, or got overtaken by Labib possibly, as does Mac does an overtake on Chonk in the Alpine. The fresher tire runners are making it work, but there's a couple medium runners who have not pit still. Look at Jack Fletcher, 18 laps with Rigraff, Joseph Herrera as well, Chonk as well, 18 laps on those medium tires.
Yep.
There must be
Joe Goron.
upwards of 60%.
Joe Goron's having the same thing. He's getting held up behind through the slow bit.
And so
no.
It's a situation of opposites. Now Shry is able to pull away, and this time Joe Goron is not going to wait for the draft and the DRS advantage. He's just going to go with pure pace alone. And he does.
Yep, so pulsing into there, yeah. So yeah, it's definitely it's a fight for the front, kind of, and then the midfield fight is definitely the most entertaining though. Cole Cummins passing Chonk. Chonk hasn't pitted yet, I think, so he's dropping back.
Yeah.
And Big Mama Frank comes in. He's got on the hard tires for 20 laps.
So he's probably going to go on the mediums and go mediums for 15 laps in this kind of situation.
Yeah, mediums, yeah. It's also a bad choice, yeah, mediums. Hard mediums.
Yeah, real interesting to look at so far. Jack Fletcher has not pitted yet with his medium, so he's going to try to go long, I would assume, with fresher hards as much as possible to make the overtakes work. We're seeing overtakes happen. It's obviously all being done, or about 90% of the overtakes this race are being done on the main straight. Matt gets the 3-second time penalty. That's got to hurt him because he's one of those drivers who's quite within that pack. A couple drivers, Rigraff, Jack Fletcher, when they pit, they're going to come out around those kind of positions where Mac is, and that 3-second time penalty at the end of the race could hurt him quite bad. Real quick, if we look at position changes, besides the drivers who have yet to pit, our biggest winnings is Mac and Logan PSQ so far, who've gained 5 and 7 positions respectively. There you go. Being P7 and P10, and Logan PSQ, who has started dead last in P17.
Jack Fletcher is in the pits. He's gone for softs.
He's gone for softs.
I don't know about that one. He did the exact same thing last week in Silverstone. He went to softs at the end of the race. But in softs in Hungary, though. I'm not sure about that. Oh, I don't know. I guess we'll see how it pans out, but I don't think they'll last.
I mean...
anyway, MVA passed Rigraff as well, so MVA back to P3.
And does it cleanly as well, so Rigraff, once he pits, he's going to drop off quite far behind. and on the grid. And so, yeah, it's a battle of strategies. It's a bit of a puzzle. It's definitely a head scratcher. But one thing I'm enjoying about this broadcast so far is observing how these strategies are going to be played out. I don't know if Jack Fletcher is on the right call here, but last week he did do that, as you said, in Silverstone, and he was flying. The fresh tire runners are highly advantaged compared to used tires, and we're gonna see it right away. Look at Jack; he's potentially got setting himself up to gain 2 more positions here. He's definitely gonna be able to make the move happen on. He's struggling to make the move happen on the Labib. Rigraff is completely caught out. Oh, a little bit of a bump and a contact on Labib this time. And Jack Fletcher, I believe he held back. He held up a little bit instead of going past Labib. And unfortunately, wasn't a situation with.
Trying to go around the outside.
Trying again. Look at this. Really,
Labib, though. Labib is doing some great defending.
Absolutely. Kudos to him. And yeah, Jack Fletcher's got the better pace. His tires are already on the proper temperature, and that's working out for him great. I don't know if he took any very slight damage from that little bump on Labib. I don't think it was hard enough for it to damage him. But Chunk in the back as well, P15, he is also going on softs, and he is out there, but
he's dropping back massively, Chunk.
Yeah, he is. He's going to catch up to some drivers, and I think Jack Fletcher's going to make a lot of overtakes happen. But he still has 13 laps to go on soft tires, and I believe by the 10th lap, his softs are going to be absolutely dead, as we saw with NVA and whoever with the other driver who did soft tires in the beginning.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how that works out. But so far, Jack Fletcher is now in P4, while earlier he was in a podium contention, and his next target is going to be NVA, and he's gaining on him quite a lot right now at 1.3 seconds, 1.2, and that time is just dropping down. Look at that, 1.1. He is absolutely flying and might be, by the end of this lap, in a position to overtake NVA for a podium position. Will he be able to keep it? So far, Jack Fletcher had started in P5, and he is on the hunt and a driver to be watching out for. And if this is working out, we're also seeing Rigraff and Chonk in the back. Maybe they'll be able to make some overtakes happen by the end of the race.
Yeah, so Rigraff, yep, he just came out of the pits in P12, just in front of Big Mama Frank. Big Mama Frank not having a good race today, the last week's race winner. So obviously getting spun on lap 1 didn't help us. Now Jack Fletcher on the back of MVA. Here we go. But yeah, as you said, Silverstone is a completely different track, so it'll be of course he lasted there, but it may not necessarily last here. As he goes for a switchback, it goes around the outside of the final corner, side by side to the final corner. Oh, he's off the track though. He's off the track. Jack Fletcher went off the track there. Does that mean he has to give the place back? Yeah, no. Jack Fletcher gets that position.
And there's side-by-side action in the front, and it's Joe Goron trying to go for the lead. Sorry, Combine. There's a lot of action going on everywhere. Will Joe Goron make the move stick? And he does, and that was so close to a contact on Schrei. That was just a game of inches, and Joe Goron for the lead in the Mercedes. And Schrei is going to be P2 currently. There's still a lot of action, and Jack Fletcher definitely made the move work on NVA at the end of the day, as described earlier. And Joe Goron, I don't know what happened with Schrei, but Schrei seemed to to completely lose a comfortable lead, and that's twice that's happened this race, where he's well above a second and a few tenths in front of Joe Goron, and so suddenly Joel finds himself caught up to the race leader and passed him this time. However, will Schrei be able to counter-attack? I know Joe Goron used a lot of battery, and so did Schrei. Here they go around turns 14. Who's going to have the better exit in this kind of situation? So far, it looks like Schrei is maybe a little bit behind. The best scenario is to be about 0.5 seconds behind, or a little less, to catch up to the driver in front of you properly. And I think Joe Goron used a little bit of battery just to protect himself a tad bit, and Schrei doesn't put himself in an attacking position. Look at this. Look at the gap that Jack Fletcher has made for himself. Ooh, a little bit of wiggle there.
There's only 1 lap difference between Joel and Schrei. Schrei must have just made a mistake again. Because yes, he was like outside the 1 second, and Joel Guron, I didn't expect him to take the lead, so I was keeping an eye on Jack Fletcher.
Yeah, it
But
came really out of nowhere.
This race is really livening up now, and in the end of round 2 here in Hungary, Division 3 0L.
There's 10 laps to go, and definitely there's a little bit of action going on everywhere. Chunk overtaking Ben for P14 on the main straight. We're also seeing is that Rigraff on the rear of Cole Cummins. Oh, sorry, that's Joseph Herrera, who's trying to defend himself from the Aston Martin, who's caught up behind him as well. And there's a bit of a pack happening. Cole Cummins actually in the battle with Leo Hudson, trying to keep up with him. And in the middle, we've got Logan PSQ, Leo Kreitis, and Aero Legendre in the Alfa Romeo P9 to P11, having a little bit of a squabble on the back. But look at this. It's Joe Goran has been defending himself. There's a bit of less ERS than he had earlier. And he's above a second, so he's going to try to stay away from the DRS timeline from Schrei, and so far it's working. 1.3 seconds ahead. Jack Fletcher, I don't know if he had that earlier or if that just happened and I missed it, but he does have a 3-second time penalty, but so far it would be without consequences for him as it stands now. Leo Hudson, what's going on here? Turn 1, there was a bit of a battle between him and Cole Cummins. Cole Cummins had him for a second, and then Leo Hudson came out up front. Rigraff finally overtakes Joseph Ferreira for P12. That's a struggle keeping up with everybody and all the moves going on all at once at the same time. There's a three-way battle here as well combined. There's action, there's spots of action all over the place on this track, and that's keeping this race really interesting so far. Oh, there's a spin in the back. Oh, Logan.
Logan spun, yep, okay. He's going to lose the position to Rigraff and to Big Mama Frank, so the Ferrari with another mistake. Yeah, so the fastest lap also went to, there was a fastest lap earlier, but I forgot who just took it.
I'm not sure if it was somebody who just went by.
Krushy got the fastest lap in 17th.
Yeah, okay. That works.
Not too bad. You won't get a point for that, but still. Not bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Sad situation for Logan, given the fact that starting P17, I climbed up all the way to P10 at some point, and that spin drops him down to P13. He's still got time to get back into this race. He's maybe hoping that there's a battle between Rigraff and Joseph Ferreira up front. But so far, that's not happening. And the story now, Joe Goran, look at this, 2.7 seconds. He completely run away from Schrei. I don't know if Schrei...
I don't know what the hell happened to
making,
Schrei.
Yeah, I don't know what's the driver error, or, we might have an opportunity to talk to him in a post-race interview if he just stays on the podium positions. But look at this. So far, Jack Fletcher's... his tires are holding up so far, and he's actually catching up to Schrei. Obviously, he's got the penalty, so maybe Schrei's not going to have to fight him so hard by the end, by the time the move gets done. But Schrei might want to up the pace a little bit. Look at Joe Goran, that's 3 seconds ahead of him, and there's only 7 laps. Yeah, at this point, Jack Fletcher might catch him. You're right.
Obviously, the softs will die, as we know, but and he's not catching that fast anymore. As Labib now on the back of MVA for P4. Oh, there's contact. But Labib goes around the outside. Oh, still there. He's got it done.
He's made the move work. Wow, Labib.
What a move.
Where does that pace come from? I don't remember Labib having such pace.
Actual goat.
Yeah, actually, he's even if he doesn't get another podium, he'd be at the step so far, or a top 5 for him. That'd be really good for a second race in a row. Really having a great start to this season as is. But I'm going to stop talking about Labib because I might broadcast curse him as it is. And we've done enough damage. Yep. We've done enough damage as it is. But yeah, what we're observing now, we're trying to keep track of, is Jack Fletcher's possible progression to Schrei, but also, when are those tires going to just give out? It seems like he's going to be climbing and getting closer to Schrei. He's gained about between 4 to 5 tenths just this lap alone. And so if he keeps up this pace for the end of the race, he will be up to Shry. I don't think he'll be far enough ahead of him due to his 3-second time penalty to gain P2. However, those soft tires might just completely collapse on their on themselves. And in the back, you have Labib and NVA still battling out a little bit. Oh, NVA got to the wall!
NVA spun! NVA spun! So both Ferraris having issues there. Kamari Mac moves into 5th.
Well,
Leo Hudson might move into 7th.
that is a hat trick of broadcaster's curse for us combined.
Not me this time, not me this time, not me this time, not me this time.
Yeah, it's 2-1 for you. And look at this. NVA's got to fight for his life, and he's going to have to race really hard against Leo Hudson, who tried to make the overtake work. Surprisingly, he didn't completely cook out his mediums, but at this point, 14 and 15 lap old mediums versus hards. Maybe the hards will have more grip. We'll see how Leo Hudson can make those work. But now NVA finds himself, instead of battling for being at the foot of the podium, he's battling for survival. And he's got a Mercedes and a Red Bull right up behind him, and he could drop as far as P8. And in a blink of an eye, at the end of the race, that's happening. And real quick update, look at Jack Fletcher. He did not make any gains this lap and towards the Shry, and so he's actually losing time to Shry this time. This time around, going last lap, he was about at 2.8 seconds. Now he's already at 3.2, 3.3. Look at that time go. I think Shry has been using a little bit more of his overtaking powers. Maybe he's going to try to make a push, a final 5-lap push there, a sprint to catch up to Joe Goron. We'll see how that goes. Leo Hudson finally makes the move happen for NVA. He was vulnerable after that slide, and NVA is going to try to battle it hard, but now he's put himself up in a sandwich between a Mercedes and a Red Bull. Will NVA be able to come out of that, come out of there on top? That'll be to see in 5 laps to go, guys. This race is not over. Still a lot of action to go.
Looks like that medium hard strategy seems to be, I mean, the winning strategy as it stands so far, but the mediums are dropping off, at least in NVA they're dropping off. So, I don't know. It's definitely a mix between the hard medium or the medium hard. The softs don't last very long, so... Oh yeah, and Jack Fletcher's now 4 seconds behind Shry, so his tires are they're gone.
They're going, and so...
But they're just gone completely. Labib is on for that podium again.
He might be thinking about it, but he's got to be careful too, because those 15-lap old mediums could be near a drop-off as well. But I think the difference between Jack Fletcher and Labib, and the Labib doesn't have to fight that much. He's got 3 seconds to catch up. Remember, Jack Fletcher has a 3-second time penalty. And so if Labib, who's currently setting, let's say, a 2.7 seconds differential, and now it's at 2.6, that's really closing the gap. 2.5, look at that. That's all he's got. He's got 4 laps to close a 2.5 second gap to be able to catch up and be within the time penalty zone for Jack Fletcher. And so we'll see that how bad those softs are dropping off. And then Shry, by the way, has gained almost a full second. Joe Goron was 3 seconds ahead of a Shry. Shry seems to be trying to make a push for a possible comeback here. It's at 1.9 seconds, not at 1.8. He's in sector 2, flying through the track. So it looks like he was just... Maybe he was just taking care of his tires, trying to not get them overheated. Man, maybe he had overheated them earlier on. And he's now catching Joe Goron. And Joe Goron might only be saved by back markers on which he could possibly get the DRS on the drivers in front. I'm not sure. There's a driver in the pits in the back. I believe that is Adeo, who had crashed out earlier in the outside of turns 14. I believe he damaged his wing. Or he's going to go on softs to go for the fastest lap. In this kind of situation. And so keeping an eye, we got battles for podium for sure. We got a battle for a race win here. Ed Shry is below 2 seconds with 3 laps to go towards Joe Goron, and in the back Jack Fletcher with his time penalty. Labib, look at this, he's got 2 seconds of a gap to close towards Jack Fletcher, and that might jumble up the order of the podium.
So yeah, this is going to be a very interesting finish. What will happen with Jack Fletcher and his soft tires? MVA almost lost it the exact same way at turn 1. So, oh gosh, he's really very much pushing hard as there's a spin for an Alfa Romeo of Aero in P12.
Yeah, coming out of turn 1 is starting to become more and more treacherous. We're seeing a lot of drivers maybe pushing a little too hard out of turn 1 on those worn tires, and a lot of spins happening there.
Exactly. MVA almost spun the exact same way as he did before, like hitting the curb at turn 1 on the exit.
So,
As Leo Hudson ran wide there, MVA might come back at him.
yeah, these drivers are really struggling for the tires, and that's where I was thinking strategy-wise, possibly a two-stopper, given the fact that the soft tires really, you can't go too long on the soft tires. They completely die out around lap, as we saw for Jack Fletcher, was around lap 9, and he's in danger of losing his podium. Look at this. Labib is now sitting 1.3 seconds behind him due to that time penalty, and that's all the time he's got to catch up to. And meanwhile, Shry is at about 1.5 seconds. Time is maybe running out for him a little bit, but we'll see how Joe Goron fares on his defense here.
Oh, Cole Cummins going for the move on MVA. Oh, he's made contact. He made contact with the Mercedes of Leo Hudson, and he spun.
That is unfortunate for Cole Cummins. I don't know if Leo Hudson closed the door, if you tried going on the inside there in turn 1, but that is yet another turn 1 incident happening here for these guys, and so really unfortunate. And that's a lot of positions you lose, and there's 2 laps to go, and so maybe Cole Cummins got a little bit greedy there.
Yeah, it was way too ambitious. He tried to go for the move on the Ferrari, but then hit the Mercedes, so that was no mistake.
And in the back, we still have NVA. There's Leo Hudson, Lucratis, and NVA. There's still a 3-way battle happening there. So NVA, despite having a spin, and that's a time penalty. That's another broadcaster's curse. That's number 4 for this race.
Okay, that's 2-2 then.
Yeah, 2-2. All right, well, we've got a lap and a half to go to get a 5th one. Who's going to make us win?
Oh my god. Oh my god, this is terrible. This is awful.
Absolutely. Well, so far, Shry has not been able to really make up the gap to Joe Goron. I think by pushing too hard, and I'm suspecting maybe his tire temps got a little too hot on the hard tires. He had a way better pace than Joe Goron up to a certain point. Twice in this race he lost it, and now a 3rd time as well. Given the situation here, it was gaining on him and then completely lost it. Meanwhile, we're having a battle. Look at this, Lucratis for P6 on Leo Hudson. He made it work. NVA hanging in the back, trying to keep up with him, but I think his tires are kind of dying on him. And Labib, where's that? We're about a lap and a half to go. Lap 34, 35. Labib's got 0.5 seconds. And obviously he's got to keep it on track. He's got about half a second to go to close the gap to Jack Fletcher for a potential 2nd podium in a row for Labib. The Alfa Romeo driving surpassing. I have to go check what rank he was drafted, but I think he's definitely surpassing expectations as of now. And look at that exit right away. He's gained about a 10th on turn 14 compared to Jack Fletcher. Cushy going for another fastest lap, on this time on the soft tires, 1:17.655. That'll definitely be the fastest lap of the race. We're on the last lap, lap 35. Joe Goron leading the race so far for the win, having had a bit of a rough start to the race, and gained the lead back from Shry. Shry started P3 or P4 if I... that was P4 actually for Shry, and so he's got himself up into P2. Way better race so far than he's had in Silverstone, despite his incident. And Jack Fletcher with a really interesting strategy, and his fuel light is blinking. So is he going to run out of fuel by the end of the race?
That's going to be very interesting. So Labib is 3.2 seconds behind Jack Fletcher right now. Oh, you gotta be kidding me right now. Oh my gosh.
And you've won combined.
Gosh. Okay, whatever. This is terrible. Anyway, Joel Goron comes around the last corner to take a win. He DNF'd in Silverstone and he comes back to take the win of the season. Shry with a good recovery from a mistake earlier. 2nd place, Jack Fletcher will be... Oh, you know what though? Jack Fletcher is slowing down.
He's got no fuel! Labib has his podium!
Labib gets a podium for the 2nd race in a row because Jack Fletcher ran out of fuel.
No way. Division 3 strikes again. Leokritis is next across the line. He's going to drop a couple positions due to his penalty. Drops to P7. Leo Hudson P6. NVA across the line as well. a lot of position changes because of those penalties. Joseph Ferreira starts P7, Rick Graff at P8, Cole Cummins P11, and then it'll be McLaren of Ben, Arrow, and then there's Arrow on the Alfa Romeo, and finally the Ferrari of Logan in P14. Sadly for him, with the spin and penalties, that kind of...
Okay, surely you don't count that one. Labib's still got the podium. You don't count that one, surely.
He's got
Don't
a
count that
podium.
curve.
I mean...
Adeo retired at the end.
Yeah. It's a DNF. I guess he's... no, that's it. He's going around the final corners, and I think that's a case of an Alta 4. Means quitting out of the game.
Oh, yeah, quit the game. Yeah,
maybe a little bit disappointed there.
yeah, I mean, it's a tough
But
race.
that is... My goodness. I'm a bit... I've not seen such a curse, such a broadcaster's curse. I don't know if it's because you're in Australia, I'm in Canada. What is going on? Is there some kind of magnetic energy going on between us? But combined, I don't think we could be streaming races too often, because that was one hectic end of a race with a lot of broadcasters curse. A lot of our drivers in the YouTube chat are asking us, pleading us not to put the camera on them in this race. And so we're gonna see how that
Well, I mean,
goes.
it happens sometimes. We'll see what happens next week. It'll be fun. Oh my gosh, it's a one-off. I'm telling you.
That is.
I mean, we can't count that last one. Come on, we can't count that last one. We
No,
still got-
no,
Labib's still
that's
got-
on him, on his strategy for the fuel. But yeah, no, definitely.
Labib's still got the podium despite the penalty that was.
And I'll read your comments seen on the Discord. And everyone's making me laugh very hard. Commentators better get some security on the way home.
I'm not joking though. There was no curses last week with eruption.
Jack Fletcher, Alpine didn't buy the gas bill. Didn't pay the gas bill, I mean.
Oh, this is great. It was a good race though. Joel Guron comes back with a win after the retirement from last race. Or the first race.
Yeah, what a race.
Shy, doing second. Labib with another podium. My goat.
That's another podium. And you know what? Despite, unfortunately for Jack Fletcher, losing out on that podium, I mean, it's from P5 to P4, and that's really a good race for him in Alpine. Reserving, I believe, for Alpine, if I'm not mistaken. And so, that's a great race from the drivers out there. Unfortunately, that's the end of that. And Division 2 is going to be there in half an hour, but stay tuned. We're going to have a couple interviewers with us, be able to ask him a couple questions, and see how they felt about that race, because that was one wild race. I got to say that. So, just go here and get them boys ready for interviews. Normally should have some guys in our waiting room already.
Oh yeah, the interviews. You have, well, I mean, at least two of them will talk. So, that's guaranteed.
Yes. Yeah, because I don't think we're going to listen to Labib, but however, I don't know if Labib wants to sound representative.
We could get the Alfa Romeo people again. Oh wait, we can't because they're at the track right now, the real life Hungarian Grand Prix
That
track.
is true.
Freddie Rezel and Simon Colston, both at the track.
Alright, well, we've got Joe Goron who's ready. I'll let Labib sort his things out. I don't know if we're going to have him in an interview, but if I see Schreier, I'm going to bring him in. I know he's in the engineering booth for Haas currently, so he should be with us in just a moment. Alright, we're going to have OG, Mr. Campbell, as representative for Labib. I don't know if you engineered for him, but if so, definitely a couple good calls for him. As soon as he's with us in the waiting room, he'll join us in the broadcast for a couple questions.
So we just got Joel for the moment, the race winner.
Joe is there, Camborn is there, we've got MVA. We don't have Shry yet, but we'll bring
Oh yeah,
Campbell
MVA's
Lurry.
there. MVA.
Yeah. MVA.
Oh, we got also Campbell. OG is there.
Yeah. So we'll bring in OG, Mr. Campbell, representative for Mr. Labib, who's got another podium. No thanks to Jack Fletcher's lack of fuel, but great racing despite that for Labib. That is 2 races in a row being P3. OG, were you his engineer for this race?
You know, I would say I was more of an observer. I had 2 people who were very quiet in that race, and you know, I just wanted to comment on the ending there. You know, people are gonna say Labib got lucky. You know, Jack ran out of fuel, but the harder he works, the luckier he gets. That's all I gotta say, man. 2 races in a row. He's gonna go for 3 for 3, position 3. Yeah, dude, he's been putting in a lot of work. He's doing good, and yeah, dude, he's really excited.
Where has that pace come from?
Dude, honestly, like I'm gonna leak some things, dude. Earlier in the week, he was sending in some times, and you know, he was doing 23 second lap times in the race, like on prime tires, dude. And it was rough, and he just put his head down and grinded. Like he just put in the work, and it paid off.
23-second one.
Yeah.
What? No, seriously, bro had half a year off the game because he couldn't play F122, and he comes back with 2 podiums.
Yeah, he's just a hard worker. Like he knows how to practice, and he does practice. He's a beast. That's all it is. It's talent and hard work, dude. It's unreal.
I mean,
It's
yeah, I don't deny that. Yeah.
So you're saying he's not Labib, but he's Labeast?
He's LaBeast, dude. He's evolved, dude. 100%. This is new and improved LaBeast.
There we go. Just found him a new nickname.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah, that's
Real interesting. Well, OG, thank you for your time with us. Definitely a really interesting race, and you know, I mean, like you said, you know, Labib definitely had to race hard, and I'll add on another observation. He's racing clean as well. He's staying away from those tight situations, and he's not put himself in any kind of troubles as of at least that's from what I've seen in broadcasting this race, and so that allows him to be up there high in the standings this season. Thank you for your time, OG.
Yep, no problem. Appreciate y'all.
So let's see. We got Shry is in there. Shry is in the waiting room.
Yeah, let's bring in Shry, our P2 finisher in the Haas. Shry, how are you feeling after this finish?
It was a great race, to be honest. I was a little upset that Joel pulled away from me in the middle of the hard stint, and I tried to pull it back at the end, but hey. P2 is P2. Could have had P2 last week as well, but hey. It's going to be a good rest of the season.
Oh yeah, you definitely should have had P2 last week. That
Pops
did
is not friendly to me.
Yeah, it was not great. That spin. But yeah, good race overall. I don't know what happened with the pace, because you're pulling out a good gap to Joel, and then you just drop back. So.
Yeah, on my second outlap, I got held up really bad. Probably lost at least 2-3 seconds, and I think that was the difference in the race. So ultimately, that's what it came down to.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was the Aston Martin of
Yeah, he went like 3 laps long.
Yeah. Well, Peach is still good.
Thank you.
Into the race, Troy. Going back at that moment where you were ahead of Joe Goron, and eventually he ended up catching up. What happened to cause that difference of pace? Did you have a situation? Was it just your tires were maybe a little bit heated up, or?
I wasn't trying to push fully out. I know I had the DRS, or not. I had the ERS advantage at least through those 5 laps, and I think that I was banking on having that ERS advantage. I just wasn't really going full push in the beginning of the stint, just because I had 1 lap older tires than Joel did. So if I pushed really hard in the beginning, I think the difference would have been even more at the end. So I was more of not tire saving, but not trying to go all out and overheat the fronts. That was the biggest thing. A lot of people were struggling with their front tires. So engineer was telling me Logan was sitting in the 109s, 110s throughout the whole race. So that would have been stressful.
Really interesting. Shy, P2 is P2 next weekend. We're gonna be. Where the heck are we next weekend? No, we're actually gonna be in Singapore next weekend.
Awesome.
Actually, I believe we
love
have a
that
week
track.
off. Yeah, we have a week off. Look at that. So in 2 weekends we're gonna be in Singapore. So that'll be another very technical drive
Love that track.
out there in Singapore. Yeah, a lot of time to practice there. Shy P2 finisher. Congratulations on that position, and we'll see you potentially into 2 weeks for our maybe another interview, because right now you're showing the pace to be here regularly in the broadcast booth.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks. Hope to see you again.
Yes. And we will bring our race winner, the Mercedes driver, Joel Garon. Joel,
What's up?
we've just spoke with Shry in the Haas. He explained how on his second stint he was trying not to overheat his tires and not push too hard, and he kind of points that to being the moment where you caught up and the race kind of turned over. Were you just pushing, all out this entire time, or were you having a more strategic approach to your race?
I was pushing. Pushing as far as I could. Engineers told me to slow down because I almost bent it. But yeah, I had no overheating problems at all. So just, yeah, I caught up I think he had a 3-second gap on me. And I just caught up easily.
Yeah, I don't know how he dropped so far back. He had a decent gap to you, and then he just
Yeah,
dropped back. I don't understand, but
he was
yeah,
struggling. He was
he
sliding.
was struggling.
I just took advantage of that. And as soon as I was a second ahead, I started dumping my battery to get out of that DRS.
Yeah, but yeah, it's still a good race, especially after what happened last week. So it's good
Yeah.
recovery.
Yep. Hopefully to do it again. How many more races? 8 more times?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, just mentioned that to Shry earlier, Joel. In 2 weeks' time, it's a race in Singapore, and so how are you going to be approaching your practice and your how are you going to be approaching that race in Singapore? It's also a very technical track.
That's probably my most favorite track, other than Brazil. So, I'm looking for a win there.
Nothing less but a win.
Nope.
You heard it here, folks. Joel Garon claiming another win, second win in a row, potentially in Singapore. We'll have to come and watch that one, because I agree, Joel. I really enjoy Singapore as well, although it's a hard-working track, but definitely one of my favorites as well.
It's fun when you nail it.
Oh yeah. Let's not take that sentence out of context, but yes.
Yeah.
That being said, Joel, our race winner here in Hungary, Joel Garon, a race win for Mercedes. Thank you for your time. We'll see you next time.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. See ya.
Yes, yeah.
All right. Well, after basically broadcast cursing the entire D3 grid, or at least half of it, Combine, how do you feel after this kind of wild race we just had?
Yeah, well, ignoring the curses, obviously, it was a pretty solid race overall. There was nice battling in the midfield, and that lead battle was entertaining for a little bit. So yeah, overall, a pretty good race. Some mixed strategies as well.
Yeah,
So, yeah, it was
I'm very curious to see how the strategy is going to pan out in Singapore. I don't think I think it'll be similar to this strategy, but even more. I mean, I'd like to see two stopper strategies in races a little bit more often. It's just one stopper and managing your tires. I don't know. Maybe it feels a bit boring to me, having that second pit stop and just going all out the entire time. Feels like a little bit more entertainment could be going on that way, but we'll see how that goes. At the end of the day, Combine, we called it. Hungary was a very entertaining race and a very good race, a clean race for the most part, and we had a lot of action the entire race, and especially at the end and up front of the pack. And so in 2 weeks, August 6th, Singapore will be on once again 8 p.m. Eastern here on the Zero YouTube channel. If you're still watching and you've not liked our YouTube channel, please do so. If you've not subscribed, you can subscribe. We're very close to getting 400 subscribers on the Zero channel as well. Very excited to get near past 400 and hopefully hit the 500 mark soon. And upcoming next, in just about 20 minutes time, 10 p.m. EST, Marcel Paps and Magnus and Cube will be commenting the Division 2 race happening here. And if you thought Division 3 was entertaining, well, Division 2 should be just as much, if not more.
Yeah, hopefully, D2's a much closer grid, but yes, it'll be an interesting race.
Definitely will be. And well, I'm going to go get ready for that race. I think you will too, combined.
Yeah.
And so I'll see you on track. And to our viewers, well, hopefully you'll stand by and get ready to watch Division 2. Get yourself a drink, get yourself something to eat, because this is just the beginning of the evening. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. See ya.